So we are about to make cinnamon rolls on a camp stove. And this is the packet of cinnamon rolls that we will use with the instructions. Away we go. So here's our bag of pre-packaged ingredients, including the directions, the brown sugar cinnamon mix, a little extra flour that we may need, the pack of yeast, and some sugar and salt, all the dry ingredients, walnuts, and an extra plastic bag. That's the ingredients. So first step in our cinnamon rolls is getting the yeast to activate, and we need lukewarm water to do that, but because it's only 49 or 50 degrees today, we're actually having to heat a little water up on the stove over here, and I'll blend that with some cold water to get what I think will be about lukewarm water. And so in this pot we're going to put a little salt, pre-measured at home, plus a yeast packet, salt and a little sugar mix, and then the dry active yeast is next, and then we'll add the lukewarm water. And then we're going to add that to our, yeah, that's lukewarm. We're going to add that to our yeast, salt, sugar mixture. Mix it up nicely. Wake those yeast up, get them going. And this needs to sit for about 5 minutes until it becomes a little foamy, frothy. And it's supposed to sit in a warm place, which is hard on a 49 or 50 degree day. So we'll make a warm place by putting a boiling water down and covering it with this to keep the heat in, and just let it sit there for 5 minutes. So now it's been 5 minutes. Oh, and our yeast has foamed up nicely. So that means it's activated. That's good. And now we're going to start adding the flour. My recipe says to add about half the flour. I'll put about a quarter of it in, stir it up, and then put the other quarter to make about half of it. And you do this until the flour is all moistened and the dough will eventually become kind of stringy. A little bit stringy. And it's time to fold in and mix in the rest of the flour. Now we're folding and mixing in the remaining flour. And this will become pretty stiff. Okay, we have our dough mostly mixed up. Now we're going to use the canoe seat pad we're going to cover it with a big plastic trash bag, and this becomes our working surface, clean. We're going to put a little extra flour on our working surface and then knead the dough. So there's the extra flour. Put some aside. Dump the dough out of the pan. Blop. Get it all out. Flour our fingers a little bit and we'll start kneading. So now we have a well-oiled pot and we have our roll of dough. It's springy. We're going to put it into the well-oiled pot formed in kind of a big oblong ball. We're going to put this in a warm spot over a warm pot of water, cover it, and let it rise. So it's been about an hour. This is the contraption to make a warm place for the dough to rise in. We have this insulated hood. There's our pan, which is sitting on top of another pan underneath it with hot water. And we'll see, oh, well, it's risen quite a bit. I think that's good. We'll try to proceed with the cinnamon roll. So we put flour on our working surface. We bring our dough, which has risen, and we hope it will pop out here. And it does. There are a few twigs and sticks that will add flavor. And now you can use a water bottle for a rolling pin. And add a few more sticks. But what we're going for is a rectangular dough about a ½ inch thick. Stringy. Not stringy, spongy. That's good. So we're putting our cinnamon, raisin, brown sugar mix on top of the ½ inch rectangular dough shape. Kind of distribute things nicely. We're going to add walnuts because all of us on this trip like walnuts. Black walnuts. And now we're going to make our big roll by rolling this into one long roll, and then we'll cut it after that. And when we get to the end of the roll, we kind of try to pinch the dough together, but I tucked it underneath, so we'll just say that's good. So now, as an experiment this time, and I've never done this, I'm going to put a little brown sugar on the bottom of our non-stick baking pan just to kind of caramelize. We'll see if this works or whether it burns. Then the next step is to cut your rolls, and I have some dental floss will work, but this is 8-pound test fishing line. And we're going to lift end of the roll up, put the fishing line under, having some trouble, and we will cut just by pulling that. We'll cut the roll. That's our first roll. Put it down in the pan, and it's kind of coming apart. It's all right. Cut the second roll. And so this is our pan of cinnamon rolls. They didn't turn out great. I had a little trouble cutting them, and so some of the filling came out and I just threw that on top. But we're going to put the lid on and start the baking process, and we will have cinnamon rolls in a little bit. So this is a white gas stove. It's an MSR Dragonfly model. It's good because it is easy to simmer it very low. It has an additional, the baker has an additional reflective piece that goes around the burner, and then there's a heat diffuser to even out the heat so there aren't hot spots. And then we will put our pan full of cinnamon rolls there. Once the stove is on, we then put this hood over the top to keep the heat around the pan, and that will be it. It will bake for somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes, and we'll have cinnamon rolls. More in a bit. So it's been about an hour. The stove is simmering very low. We're going to take the heat retaining cover off, and we're going to look and see what they look like. They're, I think, almost done. Looking good. We'll give them another 10 minutes maybe. Okay, we're going to check again. It has been 1 hour and 6 minutes of very low baking. Taking the top off. This time we're going to test. I think we're done. Don't you guys? We're done. It's cinnamon rolls. So let's turn off the heat. We are going to let them sit and cool a little bit because I can see there's caramelized brown sugar bubbling on the underside. So we'll let them set up for a minute, and then we'll eat.
Fantastic.
And finally the cook.
Very good treat
Excellent treat.
in Quetico.